Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone. So we welcome everyone to the satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. Now we are continuing our study circle on Gita Vahini. Today we are doing the Gita Vahini chapter 8, and if you have the online version, it is page 37, and you have the hard copy, it is page 69. But here just I want to summarize two things. Swami talked about Lord Krishna, 4 types of devotees: Artha, Artharthi, Jijnasu, and Jnani. The one Artha means people who are in distress for health reasons or family problems and any issues which they have, and they are in pain, physical, mental, or any other pain because of many reasons. People can go through that. So then they pray to the Lord to relieve them of the distress or give them strength to cope. Second is Artharthi. They are okay, but they want to be better. They want more money. They want bigger bank balance, or they may want more better job, increase in promotion, or something. They want to get a good match for their children, or something like that. Something desires where we have, that is Artharthi. Then Jijnasu, they are spiritual seekers. What is the purpose of life? They are more in the path of inquiry. So they're still not reached it, but at least they know, is this all to life? There's something more. But Jnani is the one who knows the truth. That is why Lord Krishna says there is no difference between Jnani and him. If you are attained Jnana, because you are one with God. That is what you see, everything is divine. That is what we talked about. And then also we talked about the Vedanta. Pratyakshanubhuti, Parokshanubhuti, Aparokshanubhuti. We discussed that last week. Who wants to summarize? Because spirituality is Shravanam, you listen, and then Mananam, you contemplate on that. So what is that meaning? Otherwise it doesn't sink. Otherwise, as Swami says, goes to 1 year, the other year. Then Nididhyasana. Then when you apply to our life, then really useful. Who wants to summarize? Ram Chintamani, you want to summarize? Huh? Chiranjeevi? Pachachanubhati, Parochanubhati. That means all the things we discussed last week of was no good. So, anybody who else before I ask Nirupama? So, because we need to have clear concept in Vedanta before you proceed. So, just clarity of the thought is very important. You want to summarize Nirupama as much as you can, and I can supplement.
Sairam, I'll do my best. So the difference with paroksha, there is an indirect experience. And the way it's defined is we rely more on sensory input, and usually with the physical senses. When we are experiencing things through the aparoksha, it's more of the direct experience. So you actually transcend your senses, and you're beyond the physical, and you're having the true experience. And I think, Uncle, I liked your analogy with the mango, how when you're looking for a mango, the indirect experience is you have the directions to the store, you know how much it costs, all of those things. But it's when you taste it, that's the direct experience. And even though with that, you're still using your senses with that analogy, but you're having the direct experience with that fruit versus just reading about it or finding the cost. So I thought that
That is the closest summary. So at least there is the understanding she had, because whenever your indirect experience is direct experience, even though it says once you eat the mango, how can you tell? So the same mango, it could be Alfonso or it could be Mexican mango, something. Each one, the taste is different. Only that person who experienced, they know. That is why the scripture said, Yato vacho nivartantre aprapya manasasa. The real experience, the bliss, you cannot express in words. So, and you can't comprehend by the mind. It is beyond the comprehension of the mind and expression in his words. That is why the people who are really in that ananda, there is a beautiful in Taittiriya Upanishad, what is it? Ahu, 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 that is go on, they're so blessed they cannot even say. That is what they go on repeating. Right? This is the kind. What exactly the word?
Ahu, 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 ahamanna,
Like,
ahamanna, ahamanna.
yeah, like that. How they, because they can't express, say in words. Something like the beautifully Sri Ramakrishna said, like a dumb man who cannot speak. Dumb. You give him a nice thing to eat. He says, "How do you express?" He's like he tries to. He cannot put in words, but like that he can see the joy in his eyes, in his gestures and all that. So this is Brahmananda, which you cannot express in words. I'll summarize again. Pratyakshanubhuti is what you directly see, direct experience. So you see with your eyes. So I see these people, pictures, video, and directly hear from your ears what you are speaking, what anybody is speaking. And I taste nice prasadam food, or I smell the incense and nice flowers. What they are directly I'm experiencing this, I can directly touch something. So these are all directly the senses, which is sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. These are the most of our interaction with the world, external world is this. This is the direct, everybody gets the experience from a child to the grown-ups, anybody. This is direct, you can tangible. This paroksha is indirect. Somebody says, I went there, it is nice. So you didn't see that place, but from their knowledge, you get the thing. That is indirect knowledge. Or reading the scriptures. Oh, they say there is a heaven, hell, and that happens. You never saw that, but you believe in what they say. That is indirect evidence. Even scientific truths. But all this indirect evidence changes. The one time they said Earth is flat. They said, no, no. That time they believed it. That is indirect evidence. Then they found, no, no, Earth is not flat, it is round. That way, our people are, in the ancient thousands of years ago, they say Kagola. It is the what says, like a ball, like it is what they said. So that is the indirect evidence. It can change. Even so-called scientific evidence, even as doctors, sometimes we say that drug is great. And then after 2 years, they say that is the one which causes damage. Don't use the same thing what was using. It is can harm. That is a scientific science only, but the changes depending on the evidence we have. But this aparaukshanubhuti, which is a direct experience which you go through, not depending on the external senses, not about the reading scriptures, about somebody guru even telling, you yourself experience that. Then there's nobody can question because you know. And what is the greatest experience? The experience of I, the Atman, which is there during the wakeful stage, during the sleeping stage, and the deep sleep stage. That consciousness or awareness, which we call prajna, that is what we are really are. That is aparochanubhati, experiencing the Atman or Brahman by yourself, for which you don't need anything else. You don't need scripture, you don't need a guru. In the beginning, they help, but ultimately, you yourself will realize that you are that. That is aparochanubhati. So Just you can, if you want, there is a beautiful Adi Shankara has written this treatise called Aparukshanubhuti. These are all the greatest Vedantic texts. So people who want to go deep into Vedanta, you go to this Aparukshanubhuti. This is Adi Shankara's, and Drugdrishya Vivekam, the difference between the seer and the seen. There is also Adi Shankara, and then the Viveka Chudamani, the Adi Shankara, and then Avaduta Gita by Dattatreya, attributed to Dattatreya. These are all the, on Vedanta Dindima, there is another Vedanta. These are all the highest Advaitic treatises, just a glimpse, the highest truth. That is why we may say, why we are talking about this. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but that Advaita Amruta Varshini, they call. This showers the nectar of Advaita. So people, please take it seriously. We need to dive deep.
Another Ramana Maharshi's
Upadeshara. Upadeshara, the recent times, Upadeshara. So these are all the highest Advaitic treatises where you say you are that self. And there is another great one by Vidyaranya Swami called Panchadashi. There is another great one. So these are all the, and Yoga Vashishta, these are all the highest Advaitic texts which give the highest. In Dvaita, we have so many things. Actually, these three Swami wrote, Gita Vahini, Upanishad Vahini, Sutra Vahini. They're all Advaitic texts, all the three. They are called Prasthanatraya. Okay, now continue. Just we have only 10 minutes, so just you can start, and whatever we can do, then we will continue next week. On page 69 or page 37.
Sairam. We'll start on, I guess it's 67. I have page 69, but
Yeah,
I have a
69.
very old copy. So this is where we're going. We already discussed the four
Yes.
types of devotees. So Swami goes into more
Starting with I am
explanation.
like the Kalpavriksha. That is on page 16. I am like the Kalpavriksha tree of the heaven.
I am like the Kalpavriksha. My task is to give each what he asks for. I have no prejudice and no favoritism. Not even the shadow of cruelty can touch me. No fault can be imputed to me. The rays of the sun fall equally upon all that are directly in their way. But if something is behind something else, inside a closed room, for instance, how can the sun illumine? Cultivate the higher yearnings, and you receive the higher stage. The fault lies in the aspirant and his aspiration, not in the attitude of the Lord. Arjuna, man gives up revering and seeking me, who is his very self. How foolish of him! He is not anxious to reach me. On the other hand, he pursues lesser attainments that are temporary, untrue, and transitory. I shall tell you the reason for this strange and stupid behavior. Karmopasana gives quick results. Man seeks only what is available here and now, in a concrete form, capable of being grasped by his senses. Man generally finds reality too difficult to attain. So, he is carried away by the attraction of flimsy pleasures, away from the full joy derivable from transcending the senses. The achievement of jnana is the inner victory. It is won after long and arduous struggle. Men do not generally have the needed patience. Moreover, they attach greater importance to the gross body, the sthita sarira itself. The body can be happy only with objects that cater to the senses, and so men do not seek jnana, which will send them to the paths where their senses are unwanted. They yearn for karma siddhi, not jnana siddhi. Those who are caught by urges of the intellect are fewer than those who are caught by their senses and their urges. The sensual-minded are drawn by the obvious, the patent, and the perceptible and the physical. The few who are spiritually minded yearn for the imperceptible, the invisible bliss of merging with the universal absolute. Theirs is the correct path. Karmopasana is the incorrect path. My task is to make clear to all the value of dharma karmas, which have to be adopted after due discrimination. Should I stop there?
Want to stop there?
Shall I go on?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
When I was reading this the first time, this reminded me of the verse, ask and you shall receive. So God pretty much gives you whatever you want. And what what Lord Krishna is describing here is just the definition of immediate gratification. They do a lot of these studies on kids where they put certain toys out and they won't let the kid play with it for a little while. And they try to see how long they'll tell the child, if you don't play with it for 20 minutes, we'll give you some candy or something like that. So they try to see how long the child can not play with the toy to get the candy. And there's some kids that struggle with it, and probably some of those kids might later on be diagnosed with something like ADHD. And then you have the kids that will sit there and they'll watch the toy for a while, but then they know that they'll get something a little bit better later on. And I think this beautifully describes where a lot of people who are early in their journeys, because God calls everybody. Everybody. It's just if you're willing to hear it or how you hear it, it just depends on what and your response to that. And a lot of times, to get people to come closer, you might get these little gifts that you wish for. I always sort of I always see, when we talk about Swami sort of materializing these little objects. I remember, I think one of my dad's first trips to Puttaparthi, the whole family minus me was there, and he, I think, came in at the last minute and arrived on a bus from Hyderabad at, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 in the morning, and they had already been called. So he got to go. They literally, I think they pushed him in the bathroom. They said, you need to clean yourself up and get ready for this. So he got the interview with my mom and my brother, and I think my aunt and her family too. And at that time, and this was his first darshan, Swami materialized a ring. And it's, to me, it's a little bit like that, where, okay, I'm going to give you a little something so I can kind of, like, just, it's like dangling a little fruit or carrot and see how close you come. And my dad now is actually quite rigid in terms of his own rituals and his own sadhana. He doesn't have the opportunity to join a satsang like this all the time, but he does his own chanting, and he's really pretty diligent about it. And that's been probably 20 years now. But I think it was that little carrot that he got from Swami that sort of drew him in. So it's very similar to that. I think God draws us in by sort of being that kalpavriksha, but then eventually you realize that God is not just that ring that he gives you or just those material things he gives you, but there's something so much more powerful and more beautiful than that. And when you understand that connection that we all have, then those little material things aren't so important.
Yeah, that's the important point. We made nice example because you're a pediatrician, you can relate those children. It really applies to spirituality. The children who waited without being distracted, because some others was restless or they are distracted, so they lost the chance. But the people, they could resist the temptations to wait at that time, they got the gift. Similarly, in spirituality, so it is a laborious, they say it is a long process, churashadhara. You need, as Swami says, 3 important things: purity, patience, and perseverance. We all need to be very patient. Something you do, cook, you right away get food, eat. Oh, I'm doing this sadhana, self-inquiry, what is happening? So people get there sometimes frustrated. It's not tangible results. but without any your knowledge, you get the progress. So that is why Lord Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschidyati atatamaphi siddhanam kaschinvam vet tattva. There are billions of people, like 8 billion are there. How many people are interested? Everybody, as Swami says, they are interested eating, sleeping, being merry, and sense pleasures. Very few people are interested in ultimate truth. Of them, handful of people are interested in God. Like we are having satsang, doing spiritual practice, go temples, or go to synagogue, mosque, or church. Of them, only few people will realize the truth, because you need to be very, very intense. That is why, as you said, it is a wish fulfilling tree. We need to really pray intensely, then only we undo the sadhana. Otherwise, there is no way we can reach the